Well, it's the last Thursday of 2016. Today is December 29th, 2016, to be more precise, and therefore it's also the last episode of the Brattlecast for the year 2016. Not forever, but just for 2016. This is our birth year. This is the year we came into the fold all the way back in February, so we're going to be heading into 2017. My name is Razzle. I'm joined by Shake, and this is episode 44 of the Brattlecast.
That was good.
I hope so, because I'm not doing that again.
Yeah, that was I mean it was stumbly, but I accept it for what it was. I understand.
So we're ending 2016.
Yep.
And obviously, the thing I hear from people all the time right now is just about all the celebrity deaths that are going on. And I did a little bit of reading on this, and this year really isn't that different from other years in terms of number of celebrities, but I do think 2016 has seen more. I hate to use the word notable, but I think most of the celebrities who have died this year are just famous on levels that celebrities, when you look at them as a group in other years, probably weren't. I mean, we started off with David Bowie, Alan Rickman. I mean, so right there, right away, Alan Rickman, a very amazing actor who late in his life even started to go into the Harry Potter movies and everything. So that's a whole other type of fandom, and a young fandom at that. And this year we saw two Star Wars actors pass away, Kenny Baker, who played R2-D2, and then just recently Carrie Fisher, who played Princess Leia. And the day after Carrie Fisher, of course, her mother, Debbie Reynolds, passed away as well. And Debbie Reynolds, who I personally will remember always from Singing in the Rain, which is still one of my favorite musicals ever, as far as cinematic musicals go. So, and then on Christmas, wasn't it George Michael? Wasn't it on Christmas?
I think so. I wouldn't quote me on that, but I think so.
And we lost Prince. It's just
I wouldn't even say that we lost more notable celebrities. I think it's that we lost a lot of very iconic people.
I think that's the word I was trying to...
Yeah, these are all people that, you didn't just know who they were. It's these were people that made a big difference to a lot of people out there. I mean, they had fan bases that were more than just the average celebrity. It's not like, George Clooney's fan base. They're more iconic.
Maybe that's a part of it, because with Ron Glass, you had Firefly, so it touched into the Whedonverse. It's touched Star Wars. It's touched Harry Potter. It's even gone into Game of Thrones. Of course, one of the actors from Game of Thrones died this year. So all of these notable series have been losing people, and I think that's probably why so many people from so many fandoms kind of feel it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a crazy time, and it really wasn't that long ago that we lost Leonard Nimoy. I think that was 2015, wasn't it?
Yeah, that wasn't long ago, because I had gone to the Museum of Science in Boston, and if you ever go to the Museum of Science in Boston, go to all they have movies that you can go see in there on these huge 360 screens, and Leonard Nimoy is at the beginning of all of them, talking about the universe and space and how all these things are built. And I think this was shortly after it happened, because I didn't expect to hear him there. So it was whoa. And there was a different feel in the room, because everybody knew who that was. Before he even said his name, everyone was like, "Oh God, that's Leonard Nimoy." It was just crazy.
And he wasn't the only Star Trek actor. Of course, recently we lost the new Chekhov from the new films.
In a very freak accident, yes.
Yes. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's because of all these fandoms that have been affected, that's a huge part into why people feel it so much right now. Granted, also Fidel Castro died, but
well, fuck it. But I mean,
he just had to get in there. Okay.
I mean, he's like, hey, all these people are going. I think this is my year. I think I belong in this year. I've worked my way up here, and I think musically, I mean, when you have people like Bowie and Prince that pass away in the same year, they were, these were all icons in the music industry. Like, they all changed the music industry. So,
yes,
I think this year, I mean, not to say, not to like, what's the word I'm looking, not to like discredit their deaths, but yeah, this many people die every year. We lose a lot of celebrities every year.
we do.
But this year, I think it just hits home a lot more because these are all people that you didn't just know. It's like you knew these people. Like, these were people that like you loved and adored, and they were
And
part of things that you loved.
Like, especially when I think about things like conventions, I've been to quite a few conventions, so I've met a couple of these actors, like Ron Glass, of course, I had a chance to meet. So it's that extra punch, that's in there when somebody you actually had a chance to go out and meet and speak to passes away. Even though you don't know that person, it's still that connection through that fandom, and it's really hard to put it into words. So a lot of people have been affected this year from all these celebrity deaths. And of course, now with social media, people feel even closer to celebrities. So, yeah.
Well, the thing is, like, I wasn't, I don't get affected easily by things like that. But like, there were two this year that I actually got upset about. I remember when it was the middle of the night, I had just finished streaming, and I was laying in bed just scrolling through Facebook, and David Bowie's page had posted that he passed away. And I didn't believe it because I never believe the stuff right when I read it. I have to dig. So I was like, okay. And then like an hour went by and I'm like, oh my God. And I just started sobbing and I couldn't stop for like 2 hours. And then like I just fell asleep crying. And I didn't expect to have that reaction, but I did. And I was like, when I got up the next day, like my grandmother was looking at me. She was like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, well, Bowie just passed away. So for some reason, I'm having a really hard time processing it, and I don't understand why. And then I had almost the same reaction when I heard about Carrie Fisher. And granted, I have not been involved in the Star Wars universe a long time, but I usually hate most female characters. I don't like how they're represented. I've talked about this at great length everywhere on the internet. But I loved her. I loved Princess Leia, and I loved what she stood for outside of film. I loved what she worked for outside of film. And when I read that, because we were told about her having a heart attack when we were all playing a game. Someone just brought it up.
Yeah, we're going to go into that in a second, too.
Yeah, but someone just brought that up very suddenly. But then, like, I had thought she was going to be okay, and then, boom, just like that, and I was like, oh, God. And I was, like, emotionally distraught again. So there were two this year that really actually got to me because, like, I cared about them. Those are two that, like, really affected me. So I found myself really emotionally attached to what was going on.
And I wasn't so sure. Like, I remember reading about the Carrie Fisher thing. Like, when I first heard about her having, of course, a heart attack on a plane. I believe it was a heart attack. And,
yeah, she had a heart attack while flying.
So they took her to the hospital. And the reason why I felt kind of weird about it was because of, at the end of the article, how they mentioned how she was in stable condition. And usually, I don't know, whenever you're reading about these types of stories and such, sometimes it'll say, they've recovered or they're expected to make a full recovery, but you didn't really see that with this story. Instead, it was just written there, stable condition. And I was like, okay, we got to prepare ourselves for a possibility here. And I even though I knew that was a possibility, I still didn't expect it when it happened. And suddenly it's like, whoa, Princess Leia is gone. And it's like, whoa. Way to go, 2016. You couldn't just end the year already so we can get on into 2017. But no. Yeah. And then Debbie Reynolds the next day, so it was like
that was super shocking for me. Like I was like, what the hell is going on?
I did read one humorous anecdote during this time on Twitter. I don't remember who it was who posted it or retweeted it. So I don't remember the source of this. I didn't come up with this, but someone mentioned how they could just see Carrie Fisher making a joke about how her mother upstaged her even in death.
Oh my God. I mean, yeah. truthful. It works.
But enough about that. One thing we're going to talk about right now is the beta for Friday the 13th, the game. We talked a little bit about it starting last week. In fact, our last podcast was the day before the beta was open to the backer kit backers, the pre-orderers. And so we've had a chance to play it. We played it. We began that Tuesday.
Yep.
Which I think was the 21st. And we played it all through Christmas Day. Because originally
every single day we played that damn game.
And it originally was just going to be the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, right up to the 23rd, I think. And so it was only going to be that 3-day span of time or so. And actually 4 days, I guess. I may be getting my days mixed up here. Maybe it was the 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd.
I think it was originally only supposed to be 3 days.
Well, whatever it was.
And then they extended it to Christmas.
No, they extended it first. They extended it to Christmas Eve. And then they extended it to Christmas. And so we spent a lot more time with the beta. And so we've had a chance to play it. I know a lot of people out there have played it. I figured, why not? We'll just share some of our thoughts about it. And because this is a game we've been looking forward to for quite some time, we've brought it up on the podcast many times. And now we've actually played it, so now we're experts. So.
Yeah, and the thing is, you were hype about this game before I was. Like,
really?
You actually knew about the game before I knew about the game.
Oh.
Yeah, and then you brought it up to me, and I, lost my shit. I was like, what? Are you serious? What? Hello? And it was surprising to me because I'm in love with Jason Voorhees, which I have no shame about, and it's perfectly normal. So I was really surprised that I didn't know about it. But I was not disappointed at all. I thought it was a hell of a good time, and I still don't feel like I played enough of it. Like, even though it was just a beta and it was just one map, and I think we only had, how many counselors did we have in that?
We had access to 7 counselors.
Yeah.
Plus Tommy, so.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, Tommy is something, But I don't feel like I had enough time. Like, I feel like I needed more time to play.
We really did. Come on, guys. They should have given us a 2-week beta. Let's be honest.
Just give me the fucking game. Just give me big patches. It's fine. I don't even care.
I'd be fine with it. I think the console players would get ripped off, but I'd be fine with a game that constantly just gets patched and reworked and retooled. But,
work on it while I'm playing it. I don't care. And granted, I understand people have a lot of gripes with the game, because there's always something to complain about, because this is the internet. And there were definitely things that I would like to see changed, and things that I would like to see more of and less of. But you release this game right now, I'll play it. I'll play it every damn day. I don't even care. Although I will say, I think that the public match system, I figured, hey, you know what, people aren't on right now. I can do some public matches. It is such a fucking cancer that I don't know if I'll be able to live through public matches when the game is released.
Yeah, the public matches were pretty bad. Pretty bad.
I can get past because the thing is, I just chose, because I wasn't sure how it was going to go, because you never know how communities are going to be. With this game, I expected, because of the people I'd been playing with in private matches, I was like, oh, maybe I'll just meet, other fans, and maybe we'll, be able to talk in the lobby about stuff, because you do meet a lot of Friday the 13th fans who are really into it, and that's a lot of fun, and that's not something that a lot of games can give you. But I found that in playing the public matches that it was absolute hot shit the entire time. Because my first round, I was like, all right, I'm going to try to communicate with these people. I'm going to, give everyone the benefit of the doubt and go. And everybody is my very first game, I was Jason. I could hear people, screaming at each other. So I knew where everybody was the whole time. And then people would knock me down and, teabag me. And then I'd get up and kill them. Everyone's just, screaming, go fuck yourself, and doing the ki, ma sounds over and over again. Or, somebody was even, high-pitched singing the Halloween theme the entire time in the lobby one round. And I wanted to die. So I think going like after the very first round as accounts, I was like, I'm not talking anymore. I'm just gonna play on my own, and I had success that way because nobody knows what the fuck they're doing in a public match. Everyone just sucks. But
Yeah.
the public matches are so cancerous. I think I will always opt for the private match every
Well,
single time, and we had such good luck with private matches.
I mean, to talk about public matches a minute, one thing I'm a little disappointed in is the reliance on voice chat in this game. Because, I mean, when you really look at it just at a base level, I don't think this game really needs voice chat. And, I mean, there are people out there who will argue with me on this, but ultimately you're talking about an objective-based game. I didn't really see a whole lot of strategy involved, at least not in the beta. There might be some more as we hit the ultimate release. But most of the stuff you can find on the map anyway, in terms of, oh, well, this person's already found the gas and put it in the car. This person's already, put in the engine or whatever the hell it was, the battery. And so the only thing that it really doesn't have on there is showing you what's been cleared out, like what cabins have been cleared. Some people in the forums have come up with some clever ideas, including why not, whenever you open up a drawer and you take everything out of it, just keep the drawer open. Like if there's nothing in that drawer, just keep it open.
But also, why keep it open when you can make the house look like you've never been in it so Jason doesn't explore the area?
Well, that's true, too.
There's two ways to play, and I would say that the game, I would say I disagree with you a little bit, because I think the game benefits from voice chat, but not in the way that public games are using it. Because I at least found in our private games that it really did help to communicate, because just because someone puts gas in the four-door car, you don't know where that car is necessarily. And then it's nice to communicate where everyone's at.
To be fair, though, the private matches we play, we were kind of cheating because you're not really supposed to, you're not supposed to be able to talk to people that you haven't met or that you don't have a walkie-talkie with, which is supposed to make the game more difficult. So it's kind of one of those things where, it's already weird that we can see everybody on the radar anyhow. Like whenever you pull up your map, you'll see exactly where all the counselors are. And so that's interesting. But if we know where they are, why can't we communicate with them? And then the other part of that is, why do we know where they are? And wouldn't it add a little bit more tension if we're not aware of who is necessarily still around? Or my whole thing on this is, why not have some built-in pre-made options for voice that you can just use so you don't have to waste your time with a headset in a public match? Because I don't find that fun. I don't find it fun to play a public match with a headset on talking to a bunch of weirdos across the country.
It's mostly a bunch of morons. I feel
it
like
really
the vast majority, and I hate to say that, and I'm not speaking about everyone that's playing this game, but most of the people that play in public matches, it's like everyone gets real brave on the internet and people act stupid. And I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to hear it. It takes me out of my... I'm no longer immersed when that's going on.
And would you at least agree that Jason Voorhees should be a muted player?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't think at any point that Jason should be able to speak, because I'm sorry, this is Jason Voorhees. Never in the history of Friday the 13th, except for as a child, do you hear him speak.
And now I think if you have a private game, you should be able to make options the way you want to. If you want Jason to be able to speak, cool. But when it comes to public matches, there should be some standard things in there. Such as Jason should not have the ability to hear counselors, nor should he be able to communicate with them. And I think that to me is just such common sense that I don't know why it was in the beta. I don't know why that was there, unless it was just to communicate bugs people were finding along the way, like, oh, my Jason's stuck or whatever.
Right,
I don't know.
Could be. I mean, I don't know. I found that like the rules they had in the game when we played private matches, like we kind of made our own rules for things.
Yeah,
because in public matches, when you die, you can still talk to the people that are alive. They can hear you. If you're targeted on that person, they can hear you, which I thought was absolute bullshit. Yeah. Because I ended up yelling at this guy because he decided he was going to spend the remaining 16 minutes of the match in a closet. And I was like, are you going to play the game? I just wanted my XP. That's all I wanted. I just wanted to get my XP and fuck off. But this guy decided he was going to stay in the closet and sing R. Kelly for 16 minutes. I don't understand the behavior. But we had set it up so we kind of made this rule of, hey, when you die in the game, that's it. You just shut up and leave the room. And that's it. You don't get to communicate with each other. And I thought that was perfect. And that's something that I think should definitely be in the game. And we also even made it so Jason was isolated. So we couldn't communicate with Jason at all, even though some people still chose to talk through him in the game, which I didn't like anytime it happened. But it didn't happen often. There was only like 1 or 2 people that did that.
But to clarify, like what we would do is we had a room set up specifically so that if you died, you went to the other room. So you were just watching everybody, talking to the other people who were dead. So it's not like you had to be silent, but you just could not communicate to the other players or to Jason what was going on.
Right, you couldn't be like, oh, Jason's here, because there is a camera that you can watch Jason on. So you couldn't sit there and blurt out, oh, Jason just teleported to Higgins Haven. Oh, Jason's here. Oh, this person's over here doing this. Like, you didn't, because it takes it away from everybody else.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I understand the proximity thing because I guess we did have a little bit of a cheat because if someone's across the map, they can be like, oh, Jason's on me, so then you can run around getting stuff real quick. So whereas if we didn't have those features of being able to communicate across the map without walkies, that'd also be pretty interesting. But the voice chat in-game is currently at a weird broken place that I wouldn't be able to use it without being frustrated.
Yeah, I think that right now it's just well, and again, the game is being made. This is all beta stuff. This has nothing to do with the final game that is constantly being worked on. But one of the things we attempted to do in the private matches anyway was we attempted to see if it was possible in the beta to kill Jason Voorhees. And we had some interesting tests going around. We tried a lot of different things. We tried beating him with axes and machetes, which I think are the 2 most powerful weapons in the beta. Now, we were able to obviously knock off Jason's mask. And depending on the weapon you're using, I think if you're using the axe and the machete, you can get it off a lot quicker.
Yeah,
but we knocked off his mask. But that was as far as the damage we would ever be able to do. We could knock him down a few times, but we never were able to kill him. We tried going into the hut, Jason's little shack, and attacking the mother's head.
Which we got some very interesting dialogue from, which was, you heard through Jason.
Right. The first time we tried it, I was playing Jason, so every time somebody went in there into the shack, immediately I could hear Mrs. Voorhees communicating to me that they found me, Jason, they found me. And anytime someone took a swing at her, I can't remember exactly what she said, if it was they're trying to kill me or they've come back for me or whatever. But one thing I think we noticed was that if people go into the shack, it sort of gives Jason a boost. It gives him like a boost in his abilities, if I'm not mistaken. At least in the beta it did. So we weren't able to
do that because we did it more than once. And it appeared to do that, like almost like he kind of got his rage skill a little bit early. But I mean, we weren't able to kill him. I don't think we ever took the time to knock off Jason 7's mask, because I know we did 2 and 3. Because we figured 2 would be the one to kill. For whatever reason, that one's like the most human. So.
Well, not only that, but because they had the shack there, we were, and this was my theory, all right, and I stay by this theory. I've heard some people actually give me some confirming information that might point to this being actually accurate. But my theory was that each Jason dies a different way, similar to how they die in the movies. So that would mean that Jason 2 would die in the shack with a machete. So we tried different. He didn't
die, though.
Well, none of them died, but
Well, I think every zombie Jason, quote unquote, dies. Real Jason dies once.
The only one who dies, I guess, is Part 4. That's the only one who actually died. If we're going to be
if we're talking about like debilitating injury that just keeps them from moving for a while, while.
Yeah, I mean, Part 2 he basically gets knocked out. 3 he basically gets knocked out. 4 he gets killed. 6 he basically gets put in water. 7 he gets what happens? Does he get put back in water? I think he gets put back in water. 8 he goes into a sewer and becomes a little boy, and that's when the series gets stupid, so who cares what happens after that. But, yeah.
We're sorry, Kane. It's not you, it's the movie.
No, it wasn't him. It was just stupid fucking writing and a stupid fucking movie. That whole fucking Manhattan storyline is ridiculous.
Well, yeah, because I thought looking at because one of my first thoughts looking at Higgins Haven is that you have the barn, and so at one point I was playing and I didn't think about it till like the second or third day in. I was like, I wonder if I can get up onto the second floor.
And that's a lot of people have been talking about that. I don't think you could do it in the beta,
no,
but
there is a ladder there. There is a way up.
Ladder.
It is. You can kind of see very obviously from inside the barn and from outside that there is stuff up there.
Yeah, and we should be able to in the main game. I think we'll be able to go upstairs. So.
Yeah, which is exciting for me because I've already thought about it. I'm like, please let me go up there. I need to go up there because that would be a nice way to debilitate Jason too.
Like, I think one cool idea would be if they have, like, the hay up there that you can just drop on Jason, so set him up in a trap, so he thinks he's cornering somebody in the barn, and you just drop that down on him. So, like, all these little traps, I think, would be really cool for this game.
It would be. I mean, but granted, for the beta, they did have a lot more than I expected them to, and it looked a lot better than I thought it would for a work-in-progress beta.
Yeah, in fact, I went back and watched. I didn't really watch it, but I was rewatching footage from Part 3, like the early footage at Higgins Haven, which is where the beta takes place. It was only the one map. It was the Part 3 map, and it was so cool because I recognized a lot of things, including that little. There's not the main bridge on the map, but there's that little roadway bridge that's kind of made out of wood, and it's definitely based on the one from the movie that they have to cross over. I think in the film, actually,
Isn't that the one right by one of the exits on the map?
Yeah, it is.
I'm afraid I'm going to crash the car on that bridge. Okay.
But the main building. Now, there are some differences between the two, including the placement of the radios in a different place. But for the most part, when they were in that building, I kind of knew where everything was, which is weird because every time I've seen that movie before this, I've never really known the layout of the building. Mm-hmm. But even though they didn't really use the actual building, because it doesn't exist anymore, but they were able to at least piece together a very good rendition of what it might look like.
They worked very hard to make it as true as it could be.
And that makes me really excited about looking at these other maps too, because if they could do that with Part 3, and I'm sitting here watching Part 3 like, oh yeah, if you go over there, that's the kitchen. If you go upstairs, that's the stairway that goes up, and there's a bedroom in there. And I just know the layout. It's like I've been in this house before now. Yeah. So I have an idea. Even though it's not 100%, there's a lot of things about it that look different or a little too different. Like the scaling's a little off in some places.
Yeah, there's parts of even like the Higgins Haven house that were irritating me. Just because I wanted things to be exact. But, like, I was walking around upstairs, like, being like, okay, so she was in the bathroom here. He walked over here. Jason was probably standing right there when he killed him. But then I was, like, irritated with how the bathroom was because it looks nothing like it did in the movie. And I'm like, okay, what is with this bathroom? But I know it's not done. They probably know that it looks wrong.
But I mean, the placement of the barn and the little lake there, I mean, everything looked really good as far as it was about as close as you could get to it, and still maintain that type of gameplay element that they're going for. But yeah, that's just about the map. I can't wait to see the other maps they have. Obviously, there's going to be a Camp Crystal Lake one that I'm hoping is based on Part 1 and 2. Some people are really hopeful that there will be a map based on the boat from Part 8, which I think would be cool, but,
I wouldn't
totally
even
different.
Be mad about it. Just don't put me in Manhattan.
Yeah, don't put me in Manhattan.
You can
just
put
give
me on the boat and, like, make it so there's a couple different ways to escape from there, or to even just get help somehow. But I think the boat would be cool. That'd be scary, because that's a lot of close quarters.
And I think even the Part 4 house, there's a chance that one might be in there, because I seem to recall when they were showing us the cabin stuff, they actually showed us a computer that looked a lot like Tommy Jarvis's from Part 4. So that one might be in there. Part 6 map might be in there. I mean, there's just all of these maps that they can obviously add later on, even if they're not at launch. So it's really exciting to see what might happen.
Yeah, I want all of it.
But now on to some stuff about the beta.
Well, I've got here, they sent out a survey to everybody that played the beta. well, if you played the beta, you can take the survey. And I haven't done it yet, but I figured I'd have it pulled up so it can kind of lead us around to discuss different points, if that's what you were getting at. If it wasn't,
yes,
please let me know. Okay, good. I'm not stupid. Okay. Question number 1. What is your favorite feature in the game?
Yeah, okay. I guess I'll answer this one first, and then you can. We'll just go back and forth.
We'll go back and forth.
My favorite feature is, well, there are a lot of my favorite features, including the beautifulness of the maps, the characters, the way they look. I guess my favorite feature for me, thinking right off the top of my head, was that chase scene. Because I think you were playing Jason, and I was the last counselor in this game. And I recall there was just this super long chase between the two of us. I had set up 2 different traps, 2 different bear traps in 2 different cabins. And when I would just finish setting up the second one is when you appeared and you started coming after me. You got trapped in that trap. I jumped through the window, went immediately to the other cabin, hid in there for a second to get my breath. You came in, got trapped in that one. I couldn't get out this time because you were blocking the exit, so I had to jump out the window. And I remember just being chased all over the map. To me, I think it's that thrill when I'm playing a counselor and just leading Jason on for a while, where he's attacking these windows and I'm trying to find plans of escape and just, going as long as I can, I guess. Because I remember one chase, I got down to the very end and I was being killed at the very end, and then the game stopped. So it was almost like a draw.
Yeah, that was me. That was that same one. That was when I was chasing you.
It's the same one. Okay.
That was the same exact one.
That was a fun one. I remember that one.
Because it was down to the wire. I knew you were the last one on the map, and I was like, you kept foiling me time and time again, and I'm like, I gotta get this motherfucker. Like, I was getting like really into it. I'm like, I'm going to kill this girl. And you just kept finding ways around me. And it's not like Razzle was like cheating the game in any way. He was just playing it really smart. And I was like, all right. I was like, I gotta kill him. In fact, you gotta die. And it was like 2 seconds left when I was doing the kill, and then like I wasn't sure if it counted as a kill or not. But then I got like the no survivors experience, so I was like,
you did. But then on mine, I had like one I survived, so it was weird. I think the game gave us both credit for it, which was kind of cool. I think maybe because we broke the game. It was like, we don't know what to do with this. This has never happened. We don't know what just happened. So it's kind of like one of those elusive endings, like Part 2's ending, where people will be guessing it for the rest of their lives. But I was actually playing the bookish girl. So I was playing, I think, a very well-balanced character. She's actually probably my favorite character from that beta. And I know you liked her a lot too. In fact, I think we like the same characters. We both like the bookish girl.
We did, but then again, we do tend to have similar play styles in a lot of games for the most part, unless it's games like The Isle where I'm very gung ho, let's kill everything, and you're like, no, just let me be safe. But we have similar play styles. So we both ended up really liking Deborah, and we both also liked Tiffany Cox, even though she was the dumbest bitch you could find.
That was so fun, though.
She was so difficult, and it made me realize I'm no longer like 14 years old with amazing reflexes. And I was like, shit, why can't I get this?
One of the first times I was playing her, real fast, there was about 5 or 6 of us who had gathered at the car. We just finished putting everything in. Someone had just cranked up the vehicle, so I got in the passenger seat. Jason shows up, pulls the driver out, and just starts killing him. And I'm sitting there in the passenger seat as Tiffany Cox, playing this character. Okay, so since I'm this character, I'm just yelling, somebody get in the driver's seat. Somebody get in the driver's seat. Finally, Shake got in as the bookish girl, Deborah. And we just hightailed it. We left everybody behind, and we just got out of Dodge.
Yeah, I remember that clearly because I was I was hysterical over here. Like, I was laughing hysterically because Razzle's screaming, literally screaming, somebody in the car, we gotta go, we can't be here anymore. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, I'm getting in the car. And we ended up leaving someone behind, and they were bullshit about it. But I had no idea that I left anyone behind. I was just like, I'm sorry, I was being yelled at.
It all happened very fast.
Heat of the moment.
It's hard to blame characters from these movies for leaving people behind now that I've experienced this.
It's really hard to, but
What's your favorite feature?
I would say my favorite feature Okay. My favorite feature for me is, honestly, I was really excited every time I experienced a new kill. I was really excited every time I got to find something new environmentally. Like the first time I saw the sleeping bag kill, I was like, fucking yes. I was really excited about it. When I finally unlocked Jason 2 and did the can opener kill where you like put a pickaxe in the side of their head and spin their head all the way around, I really loved the variety in kills that we got even from this early on in a beta. That was really exciting for me because when I was playing Jason, it was so satisfying to destroy people, because I didn't just kill people. There was barely a time when you just saw me choking someone out. I was breaking spines, shoving eyeballs out, putting fire pokers through people. I don't care. Like, when I'm Jason, I got into it. And honestly, that was my favorite, was having that variety and how each Jason had their own special kills. That was really cool for me. Jason 2 had the most graphic ones, in my opinion.
Jason 2.
Jason
That's the
2
best.
really had... That ended up being my favorite Jason too, but I enjoyed the kills and even the perks that you got for the counselors. I really enjoyed how you could mix and match those, and they worked differently for every character. And some of the perks that you would use on one character are not going to be as beneficial on the other. So I really liked those. Was unlocking perks for both the counselors and Jason. That was one of my favorite things. Now, if we go on to least favorite feature. Now, I have to go with feature. I have to really think about this because my brain wants to immediately say something that I don't like about how people play.
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
But that's not a feature of the actual game, so I will save that for one of my least favorite moments while playing. But I will say my least favorite feature would probably be... Oh boy. Honestly, I'm not... Nope, there is. I'm thinking now, because I was saying, like, I really liked everything in the game, but my least favorite feature, I would say, is how, when you are being stalked by Jason, if he's around you, you'll hear music before you actually see him. And your counselor will react before your camera sees him. And I didn't like that because I want to feel the fear of seeing him. I don't want to hear my counselor go, oh my god, and then have to fucking spin my camera around looking for Jason. And I just don't like that the music is such a high indicator. Even when you're playing Jason, he might not even know where anyone is, but he'll hear that music. Like, and it's not... I didn't like that. I think the music needs to just go. And if you have to see Jason for there to be a reaction, not your counselor. Because it took me out of it a little bit, knowing that I couldn't experience it. My character always did.
See, I'm going to partially agree. I think that the music for me was also a killing moment for it. But I think that if it depends on how they work it. I feel like they have some options here where they could make different Jasons more stealth-like. Because there is no stealth kill by Jason in this game, because it's just like Dead by Daylight, where when the monster gets close, you start hearing that music. But I think even in Dead by Daylight, isn't there like a stealth character that you can be where it makes it difficult to hear?
There is one stealth kill, the one with the bells in Dead by Daylight. He was always really difficult, and when he was gone, like, you couldn't really see him unless you were like focusing. He was really misty and almost invisible.
And I feel like Jason needs that stealth ability. He needs a way that he can get close to people without the music being set off until that moment when you as a player can actually see Jason in your camera shot. Because if you just start hearing music and you don't see Jason anywhere nearby, yes, it can induce panic and such, but ultimately it doesn't really let you have any jump scares.
No, it doesn't let you feel that tension. It doesn't let you be like, oh shit, he's right around the corner of this house. And if this is a Friday the 13th game, Jason's kind of known for waiting people out and being stealthy as hell. Like, he'll stand in a closet for hours and be like, I know what's up.
To me, some of the more iconic deaths really are stealth kills. Like, even like when we think back to Part 2 and Vicky Perry, Jason's hiding under the bed. And he'll just like appear, like, "Hi, how are you?" Or will we go back to even with Mrs. Voorhees when she was in the ladies' bathroom and she just appears
just
out
like
of nowhere
behind the curtain, just like, I'm here. Just waiting. I love the stealth kills, and the game gives you no way as Jason. Because there were times when I played him because I wanted to play him like Jason. I got really into it. Every time I was Jason, that I usually don't like playing the killer in games. I like to be the hunted. That's just how I am. But in this game, I really loved being Jason, and I couldn't play him the way I wanted to because I'd be creeping around corners of houses, like standing at the corners, seeing someone running. They already knew I was in the area. Even though they didn't see me, they were already booking it because they knew I was there.
In fact, I agree with you because Dead by Daylight, I never liked playing the monster. It just isn't that fun to me. But in this one, I liked playing both. Like, I loved playing the counselor, but I also loved playing Jason. So I was never disappointed whenever I got Jason right there. Also because I got to play the Jason that I liked the most, which was Part 2, because that's my favorite movie. That's my favorite Friday the 13th is Part 2. So I got to play Part 2 Jason. I think the one thing they could do to really make it even better would be let us play Mrs. Voorhees, which who knows might be somewhere down the line with some DLC. I would happily drop some money on that.
Oh, I
just
would.
Saying.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think as far as the question with the least fun feature, I think it was the music. I think they need to retool it. They need to allow Jason to be able to spawn in a closet, allow him to hide in there, so that he can just wait somebody out. Somebody walks in.
Allow him to use the hiding places to his own advantage as well. Like, yes, the counselors can hide under beds and stuff. Why can't Jason hide under a bed?
Exactly.
Like, why can't he hide under a bed and when someone walks by, fucking whack him in the ankle? Like, give me that. I also, if we're still on the music, when you hit that last 2 minutes in a game, this loud as hell music starts playing to let you know you've only got 2 minutes left. Please take it away. Just take it away. It's too much. I know there's 2 minutes left. Like, you can give me like a dun-dun indicator for 2 minutes.
Well, I think it's actually the only time in the game when you don't hear Jason approaching you because they've got a completely different track playing right there in those last 2 minutes. But when it comes to that last little stretch of the game, I really think they need to put some emphasis on two things. I think they need to buff Jason for the last kill, but they also need to buff the counselor. If you're the last counselor,
give him
and that means
resolve.
If everybody else has either escaped or died and you're the last one, you need all of your stats boosted. You need to unlock a special ability where you can actually fight Jason so that you actually stand a chance to maybe even a stronger chance to kill him so that you can actually get that. Okay, because here's the thing. All the movies usually end with one or two characters in that final face-off. And I just think that should be recreated in the game so that if you're the last one left behind, you actually feel like you've unlocked something. So that, sure, everybody else is trying to get out, escape, whatever, and you just didn't make it out. Well, that's okay because now you've got this huge boost and you've unlocked this other area of the game. You almost have like some
different objectives now. It's like, okay, you've now opened the opportunity to maybe do this.
In fact, why not, if you're the last person, why not block off the exits? Make it so you can't get to the police anymore. You can't repair the car anymore. Maybe there's a special way either you escape by boat or you have to kill Jason. Those are your two options. And if you're Jason, you've just got to kill that person before that timer runs out. So, I don't know. Those are just some thoughts. But I guess we can move on to the next question.
The next one here is, what was your favorite moment while playing? Which I feel like you may have briefly touched upon already.
I did. I think I did. I think the two moments, just any moment where it was just something funny happened between the counselors, I think are probably my favorite moments. Like I mentioned, the one with the car and also that final chase. There is one funny thing that happened one time where we all escaped. And even though we all escaped and made it out alive, I got brought back as Tommy because somebody had made that call. So it's literally, it's like Tommy just shows up. Everybody's gone, but Tommy's there. And then, of course, I can't make it out. I get killed, and so I don't get credit for surviving.
Yeah, they should make it funny. So you can't call him anymore when you've all left.
Yeah, if you've all survived, then you shouldn't have Tommy spawn. That's just weird.
He shouldn't spawn off a survivor. He should spawn off of a dead person.
And you also shouldn't lose your escape bonus if you don't make it out again. So
right, you should still get it. Don't get it twice, but still let me have it. But I would say those were my favorite moments too, like that when I was chasing you and hunting you down. Because whenever I was Jason, 9 times out of 10, Razzle was the last one for me to kill. Because he's a sneaky little shit. So I'd hit tab because you can see the people that you're playing with and who's dead and alive. So I hit tab and I'm like, all right, it's just Razzle. I gotta find this sneaky little bitch. So all these traps are set up, which had never been done before on me. Like, I walk into one, he gets out. Go into the next cabin, I walk into it again, he gets out. And then I'm like, God damn it. And, like, the clock is ticking. I've got, like, 10 seconds left. I'm chasing down this wounded, winded girl, and I can't get her. And it was so down to the wire. Like, I was really into it. I was freaking out. I was yelling. There was somebody in there with me when I was playing Jason, just like listening in, and they were just laughing. They're like, "Oh, holy shit, this is so down to the wire." And I'm like, I gotta get her. I cannot let her win. And I also loved that whole thing with the car was the funniest thing that happened. I was hysterical. I couldn't breathe. I was laughing so hard, and I'm trying to drive the car while I'm laughing. Because Razzle's just losing his mind. He in the passenger, he's like, "We have to leave." And Jason at one point like spawned right near us. Ben, we were able to keep going. He was like spawned right next to the road by the car. So Razzle's freaking out. I'm laughing trying to drive the car. We have a person left behind who's cursing us to hell. And I was just like, wow, this is a great fucking moment. Like that was great for me. Oh, I have to go into my least favorite moment? Okay.
Oh, that's easy.
Okay, my least favorite moment, is based off of a certain play style. Because I could say my least favorite moment is bugs and shit that happen, but, like, those are usually funny. Those don't usually bother me so much.
Right.
My least favorite moment is a little thing I have coined as Ring Around the Rosie. And anytime I was playing Jason and I would... either somebody would be on the opposite side of the car, opposite side of a picnic table, the opposite side of the what is it like?
On the fence a lot
too. The fences, the fences on roadways, those metal bars. It's you can't morph over it. You'd have to morph around it, or you can jump with the not morph with shift. You can't go over it, and with morph, right. You could pin it to go right over the fence, but you don't exactly know where you are after you've moved. It's kind of disorienting for a second, and that person's on the other side of the fence. So you're going around and around in circles with this person, and you can't get them. And it's unfair. It takes away from everyone's gameplay because you're caught up on this person, and yeah, it could be a distraction, but would Jason play that game with somebody? No, he would reach over that goddamn fence and smash your face into it, which you can't do. You just have this person going around and around a fence or a picnic table, and you can't get them. So 9 times out of 10, I'd be like, okay, well, then I'm going to leave. Because it took away from my experience, and it made me not want to do it. And it didn't happen all the time, because there was a point when we were playing private rounds that I told people I'd kick them from the game, and they wouldn't play with us anymore.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about the private games. On the public servers, you can't really fix it. It is what it is. What I was going to say was I did the exact opposite of what you did, because I encountered that at a car, and the player was playing Vanessa, of course, and so they were running around the car. I was playing Jason too, so I was chasing him around the car. And I had 2 options because we were still early on in the game. Number one is I could leave and go kill the other 2 players at that point, or I could just stay there with that person. And I decided in that moment I didn't even care if I lost the round. I was going to kill this motherfucker running around the car just because I was so pissed off at that. Because to me, that's an exploit cheat. That's not playing clever. It's not using skill. It's an exploit cheat. Let's call it what it is. You're exploiting the game to cheat, to find a way around. So eventually they did run out of stamina after forever, and I killed them. Yeah. And I was very happy to do it. And I think I did actually go on to win the round, but like I said, I would have happily sacrificed the round just to get that one fucking kill, because I just didn't care. Now, they did fix this on another area of the game, and I think they call it looping, and that's where you would go through the window and then come back in as Jason goes outside to go get you from outside. So you go back inside through the window, go back outside, Now, they fixed that by making it so Jason can smash the window, which means if you travel out of a broken window, you take damage. And if you keep doing that, eventually you're going to die.
Yep, so it benefits Jason to break the windows.
And there's some ways they could fix this. I mean, they could make it so that shift, you can go through cars and fences, which would easily fix it. You could make it so that the longer you're in close proximity to Jason, the more likely you are to trip or fall. Because we didn't really see people trip. They kind of stumbled a bit, but you never saw someone trip and fall.
Yeah, and
another
bitches
way
fell down in the movies, every movie.
Is you could be able to have environmental breakage, like for fences. I don't really know what you'd be able to do with cars, but maybe you could slide over the car, because I think he does that at some point, maybe in part 2. If I'm even remembering this right, I might not be remembering it right.
He does at some point. No, you're not wrong.
So,
I
yeah,
also
there's
wish
ways
Jason
they can do it.
could get hit by the car and like just roll over it.
Yes.
Like I want
Yes.
that, and it makes your car break down for a minute. That'd be good. But yeah, I hated. That was my least favorite moment. Was every time that happened, and even I found that there's only a certain kind of player that does it. And I knew who it was every single time it was being done. I knew it could only be 2 people, and they were always doing it. And they also did the window thing. So I just sat on the corner of the house and waited one time because I was like, fuck this. I was like, I'm just going to sit here and wait. Because I couldn't deal with it. I should have mentioned that in features, too, is I fucking hated Vanessa. The entire time I played that game, because her stamina and her speed were so ridiculous. She was impossible. And then they finally nerfed her, and then it just felt really good to kill her. I still don't like her. Because they've.
I don't either. I don't think
her.
I'll ever get over that dislike of the character simply because of the way she was played for so long. Because in my opinion, if you made it out of the game, if you escaped as Vanessa, who gives a shit? Now, if you escaped as somebody else,
she was considered an OP character, but there shouldn't be OP characters.
That's what I'm getting at. Is that if you escaped as any character other than that, I had mad respect for you because you played the game really well. If you escaped as Vanessa, I mean, it's like, who cares? Anybody could do that.
Right, you don't need to be good at this
literally,
game. She can go around Jason's every fucking move. So
every single time, you could be a total noob character, noob player, whatever the hell they call it now, and you could get out of that thing easy. It didn't matter. You could be fighting a veteran Jason. You could still stand a very good chance of getting out of there as Vanessa. But if you're another player, another character, and you make it out, now that takes skill, and that has, I think at some point somebody asked me, I don't remember who it was, but somebody did ask me, why would you play any character other than Vanessa? And my thought at the time was to have fun.
Right, to play the game.
Yeah.
And I still don't see a need for her now. I don't see what skills she has. And there are still characters that I find kind of useless right now. They need to be better balanced. I need to have a reason to play them. There needs to be certain skill sets involved with each that some people will be really good at, and other people might not be so good at playing. But I guess that kind of goes into that does lead right into, if you could change one thing about the game, what would it be?
Just one thing.
There's a lot to change.
There's too many things to change.
I know the counselors will be better balanced, so I can't say that I want that changed. I just pray to God they balance them better so that they all serve a purpose.
I feel like they've done a pretty good job of balancing them. It's just that I don't think they foresaw stamina being the OP skill that it turned out to be.
Yeah, you think Kenny's balanced?
Kenny, well,
Chad?
I think some people enjoy playing Kenny. I don't. I think Kenny was the most useless character in the
Kenny
game.
Or Chad.
Chad's actually a pretty good character if you play him correctly. We saw Chad make it to be the final guy quite a few times while we were in the private matches. He's got speed. He has that high luck, which kind of gives some different types of additions. It's just that low composure that made him a character I didn't really like playing. But if you play him right and you give him some good perks or some good whatever they're called, then you could still stand a pretty good chance with Chad. It's just a matter of play style, really.
Yeah. Personally, I think I've touched upon anything that I would want changed.
There's a couple of things, I guess. Obviously, try to break down the exploit cheats we were going into. As far as other changes, muting the Jason player would be incredible. Or just starting it off. I think even the forums mentioned this. I can't remember who on the forums. I was reading some the last 2 days, but somebody had actually come up with the idea to just have that muted from the offset, and I thought, that's brilliant. Just do that. Here's something on the forum since I've got it pulled up. This person here mentioned a few things. More game modes, more maps, more items. I agree with more items. I think there should be definitely more types of weapons, different types of traps, not just the bear trap, that type of thing. And weather effects. That would be wonderful because most of the movies.
Heavy rain.
Yeah, you need that rain pouring in.
And that fog.
Maybe some snow. I mean.
Give me Christmas.
Oh, and somebody on the forums, I did not come up with this idea. I read this on the forums, and I wish I remember who said it. But if you go to the forums, you can probably find it. But somebody mentioned, why have a 2-seater car? Why not just have a motorcycle? Because that makes sense. Because if you remember that fucking car, we had to come up our in-story reason for this, by the way, because we had to have an in-story reason.
We had to make some reason for why there's only this 4-door car where you can't get in the back seat.
Our idea was this was Chad's car, and that he just didn't want to move his shit out of the back seat.
He left all of his provisions in the car just in case of a scenario just like this. He's prepared.
And there were some other things like the police. The police thing really seems to be an overpowered way to win. Because I noticed this with some players as we went further in. The strategy became don't even search the houses, just look for the phone, call the police real fast, and then in 5 minutes we'll be out of here. And, that's why I think maybe increase the time on that. I know some people have said that before, but I think maybe in the beta it was already shortened. And maybe they'll bring in the ability for Jason to fight the police. We still don't know if that's something that's actually going to make it in or not, because I know at one time they wanted to do it, then they said they weren't going to do it. So
see, I don't think the police. The one thing I'd like to see gone is, because currently in the beta, when you would go to the police, it's like you'd run out much like you would in Dead by Daylight. And the police are out of reach to everybody. Like, you can't walk up to them and look at their police cars and stuff. And Jason can't even get near them. Now, I don't know how many of you have seen Friday the 13th. Jason can kill the fuck out of a police officer. So I think they should make it. Don't make it easy for him to. Like, don't make it so that he can just walk up and whack him like he can a counselor. It needs to be substantially harder for him to kill the cops. But I do think he should be able to interact with that more, because right now if he goes near him, he gets shot down. And it's like, okay, well, that happened.
Some people have mentioned more hero characters. I agree with that. A lot of people have mentioned Tina from Part 7 with the psychic skills. If they had a character like that, then you could add in whole types of environmental kills. I think Sheriff Garrus from Part 6 would be incredible to bring in. I don't know if they could actually do it because I don't really know how the likeness rights would go.
But he could be like a call-in, like Tommy Jarvis.
That's what I was thinking, is that you could have him show up with the police or whatever. Because I think it would also be cool if they let you have players be the police in a car trying to pick players up, trying to also dodge Jason. Now, that would probably increase the difficulty, especially in a public match where people will just be trolling. But still, in a private game, it could be fun. So, yeah, there's a lot of things they could change, add, and I look forward to what they do with it. So, let's go on to the next question, I guess, because that's...
Yeah, because there's some right after that, it's like, is there something you'd like to add or see more of? We've talked about that. Yeah. How easy was it to control the counselors? Well,
well, sometimes it's pretty easy, but then some of the animations were very slow, and I think I actually put this on the survey when I was filling it out, but there's this part where if you're being chased by Jason, in my opinion, if you're closing a door and if you're running toward the door, you should be able to tear through it, grab it on your way out, and slam it behind you. You shouldn't stop, slowly close the door, and then start running again.
Well, so the sometimes if you mash E, it will do that, but it should just do that automatically. Like, your character shouldn't just be jumping through closed windows when they're not terrified. They should just but when you're being chased, they should act like they're being chased. Don't, because the way they open doors is like, oh, is anyone sleeping in here? I don't want to disturb anyone. And if Jason's right behind you, you're out of time.
Yep.
It's over. I would say I'd like this. I think for the beta, I think the counselors were pretty easy to control. I could usually open drawers and fix things with no issues. Mm-hmm. The combat could be easier. It's really sloppy to me right now.
Did you try the lock-on combat, or did you just free swing?
But it didn't feel balanced. Like if I'm fighting human Jason, why am I swinging so slow and he's swinging so fast?
Well, I think it depended on what character as well. Like I think the higher strength ones probably swung a little faster, but I mean I don't have it to play anymore, so I can't verify that 100%. But I seem to remember some characters were able to hit him faster than others. Like with Deborah, she was super slow with the strikes, but I think that other characters had a faster strike speed.
Yeah, and I imagine even if you're running up to him to hit him and you're not locked on, sometimes it was like the way that you would go into combat like that was really buggy. Like even if he's facing you, he suddenly is like swinging but turned the other way. It was just weird, and that's probably just a beta thing. I would hope that that's fixed, but I didn't have many issues with the counselors other than the opening of doors and windows and the fighting.
Yeah, I would agree.
Driving the car, please. Driving
was easy on a controller. I'm just going to throw that out there. I know that the people playing keyboard and mouse had difficulty with it, but controller, if you just have a gamepad, super fucking easy. It was like driving a car in GTA. It wasn't a problem at all.
See, because you had to turn your head separately.
I know, but see, since I had the thumbsticks, that was easy.
Yeah,
just like you would do in GTA.
It was so odd. Like, just let my head be stuck in a forward position or some shit. Like, that was so frustrating. Every time I drove the car, I was paranoid about where I was
driving. And to be fair, you were playing keyboard mouse. I was playing gamepad. And like I said, gamepad driving, super fucking easy. Because it's just like driving in any video game. So, you know.
Yeah, but that's all I have. Which counselor items did you find most useful? There's only 2 items that I thought were useful at all.
Well, okay, go ahead.
And then, granted, I'd say the flare gun is situationally useful. Like if you're playing a public match, perhaps. But the pocket knives are fucking incredible. Because if Jason grabs you, you're out right away. And the med sprays.
Yeah, those were the 2 most useful ones. But granted, we didn't play a lot of public matches. And if they had the voice thing working the way it's supposed to, I imagine walkie-talkies would be pretty useful too.
Until you find 5 walkie-talkies in one house.
Yes, but I'll go ahead and answer the next question, which is going to be about least useful. That's easy. The firecrackers.
Oh, God, yeah.
Like, I still, to this moment, I don't know what they were for. I don't know what
to distract Jason, apparently.
You see, that doesn't work though. When you're fighting a human Jason, nobody. I played several rounds. I watched the firecrackers be used. Never once when I was playing Jason was I distracted by them. Never once when I used them was Jason distracted by them because these are human beings.
Well, you got distraction points for using them.
But you get like 5 XP.
It doesn't work.
See, I wasn't sure if it was just that or if it was also marking where Jason is on the map, but either way, it was a total useless item. The only way that would be useful is if when you use it, it makes your character invisible. Until Jason goes and smashes firecrackers.
You can still see that character moving right by him.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it doesn't matter.
So useless.
They're asking, did we understand what each item did? Yes.
Yeah,
even if it didn't have its... Even though I don't think they fully fulfilled these items' intended purposes. Yes, it was very clear what they were all supposed to do. Did they follow through with that? No. I'd say the med spray worked exactly like it should. You're healed. The pocket knife does exactly what it should. It frees you. Granted, when I first played it, I had no idea what the pocket knife did until it worked. I just thought it was like a weapon of some kind, or like I could use it to unlock stuff.
I had watched that 20-minute gameplay footage, and I think it was when they revealed what it was. So that very first gameplay footage they mentioned what the pocket knife is and what it does. So, yeah.
Because when I first played, I was like, I didn't know. They ask about the combat mode. Did you find it useful?
I did. I found it useful whenever you're trying to make a last stand just to get the XP bonus. Now, granted, if you're playing a counselor, don't fight Jason unless it's your last option. Okay, unless you don't have a way to escape, then fight Jason because you might get a little extra XP. But ultimately, it's pointless to fight him, especially if you can run away. So.
Yeah, because I don't know. I found at least with our matches, there were some people that just wanted to stand and fight him thinking they stood a chance, and this is Jason Voorhees. So the combat mode I didn't find very useful because it's not something I wanted to do. I didn't want to fight Jason. I know better. I don't want to do it. I don't want to get involved. Just
I only did it toward the end for the chance that I might knock him down, which would increase the time that it took him to get me. So that's usually why I would do it is I'm out of stamina, so I turn around, I lock on with my weapon, and then I take my swing. A lot of times I can't even get the swing off. But if I do, and if I hit him and if I knock him down, it gives me that little bit of time to build up stamina and run away. I do think Jason should stay down longer so that he can actually be disoriented and not track you so easily, because once he locks onto you, he can kill you. And I feel like there's really not really an avenue of escape in the beta. So I think maybe he should stay down longer.
I was able to trip Jason out a few times. There was a couple times when I was able to shake him off me.
Usually, I think that would happen earlier in the game before Sense is available, or if Sense has been drained completely, then yes, there is that chance. But if he stays in the area, he can use Sense again, and he'll figure out where they are. So I think maybe they could do a little bit more work with the stealth, because crouching when you're stealth doesn't really do much good once he's found you, because I guess you've got that fear that he's sensing on Sense, and maybe they should change it a little bit so that if you knock down Jason, he's disoriented, he loses you on Sense for a time, and so you can actually go hide for a minute, and he can go about his little merry way to somewhere else.
Yeah. I mean, that brings us to Jason. How easy was it to control him, and did you understand his abilities and how to use them?
He was pretty easy. I think anybody first time around playing him, just jumping right in and playing him, could figure it out pretty quickly. So.
I thought he was easier than the counselors.
Yeah, I would agree, because he's basically meant to be an overpowered character. So even if you're a total new to the game, you're going to stand a really good chance of killing some people.
Yeah, so. He was really easy to control. And which ability of his did you find most useful? For me, it's a toss-up. You
gotta pick one.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Morph, yeah, you can get across the map and all that stuff, and whatever, yeah. And shift, you can do short-range teleporting, get up behind somebody. I found Sense to be the most useful.
I did too. That was the one I was going to pick.
A close second for me would be Rage.
Rage was fun.
Being able to burst through everything. All your cooldowns are faster for all your other abilities. So that Rage is a close second. Morph and Shift, yeah, they're useful, but I don't need them. I can get you without them. But Sense is the best one. It's the quickest way to find people from anywhere on the map. Because even if you're not near them, and you can't see a house lit up in red or a character, you'll get that white ring that indicates where somebody's at. So I can be all right, they're in that direction. I gotta start heading that way. What is after this? Oh, we're at the end here. What platforms will you play this on? Oh, Jesus, I'm just gonna keep it on the computer.
I'm getting it on PC and PS4.
I'll probably get it on PS4 too.
Well, I had to get it on PS4 because that's the only one I can stream currently. So.
But it's not going to be cross-platform.
I know. I'll just have to stream it on my own some days.
Yeah. See, so I have to get it on PS4. Well, that's just been made apparent for me. I have to get it on both, because it asked right after that if you would suggest it to your friends, and I already did.
Yeah, I already did.
We both went around to everybody and we're like, we have keys. Play with us. Play with us. Play with us.
Yeah,
play the damn
quite
game.
Quite a few people to play. One thing I noticed about the people, their reactions to the game, the less they knew about Friday the 13th, the less fun they had.
Yes.
It's really a game that's meant for Friday the 13th fans, and that was very apparent to me when I was sitting there playing with people who have, let's say, no experience with the films or did not like the films or didn't want anything to do with the films. They didn't really enjoy the game as much, or they were more likely to nitpick the problems with the game.
Yeah,
whereas the people
were also
who were
quieter players too. They ended up not being able to find joy in it the way that a lot of us were. We were all laughing at it and having fun with it and freaking out over stuff, and then there were other people that were just really quiet because they they had never seen any of it. So like, I don't understand what's so great about what you're talking about right now. Oh my God.
I mean, it's because like I just got joy out of walking through the environments. Like you go to Higgins Haven, you walk around, it's kind of exciting. Whereas if somebody hasn't seen part 3, they don't give a crap about what
and you'll tell them, oh yeah, I'm at Higgins Haven. They're like, where the fuck are you? And
it's Higgins Camp, or is that a Higgins Haven, or do you mean the barn, or
the house? It's the house. Sorry, forgot. You don't know.
Or I basically looked at all the places that players died at. So like I was found where Shelley died, found where that lady who was with the other pothead died. So just enjoyed seeing all the little locations in part 3 that I could find and where everybody got killed. That was fun.
Yeah, there were, and some of the people I played with, like even the day that my boyfriend joined in, he's never seen Friday the 13th, anything about it. He doesn't like the game. He thought it was fun because, he was playing with other people.
Well, yeah,
so that can make anything enjoyable. But, when I was talking to him about it, I'm like, oh, well, what don't you like about it? He's like, I just don't get it. He's like, to me, it feels like Dead by Daylight, which I disagreed with. Like, I understand there are parallels there that you can't escape from.
Right.
And that's just how it's going to be. But I'm like, here's the thing. I was like, unfortunately, for some people, this game was made for a specific group of people. It is made for Friday the 13th fans. Will it attract people that are not fans who just like games like this? Absolutely. Will it be great for people to play with their friends, even if they don't like games like this? Absolutely. But it is made for people that love the movies and just want to kind of throw themselves in there and be a part of it all over again in a different way.
I think that's a parallel thing to the other games too, like Battlefront when that released. Battlefront, by any stretch of the imagination, is not a great game, but if you love Star Wars, you can have a lot of fun with it. And so, or even if you don't know anything about Star Wars, like you didn't know anything about Star Wars, I think when we first started playing the game, but just hanging out with friends and just having some fun with the game.
Yeah, I had fun with it because I wasn't playing it alone. Could I play it by myself? Right. No.
No, it's definitely not a single-player game.
It's not even a game I play anymore. Like, I did play it a lot for an amount of time.
The only reason I stopped playing it is because it requires that season pass to do any of the newer stuff, and I don't want to spend that kind of money on a season pass. I'm like, well, they're already going to release a sequel. I'll probably pick up the sequel because it'll probably have some new environments, maybe some prequel stuff in there, maybe some stuff from the new movies. So I will pick it up for those reasons and have fun with it. But after a while, I would agree, it loses its luster because once you've done the maps already and once you've done all the gameplay mechanics.
Once you've done it all and tried all the heroes and villains, you're like, okay.
And don't get me wrong, it had some variety. I loved the spaceship stuff. I love fighting as an X-Wing fighting TIE fighters.
That was fun.
Oh, that was fun. But even so, if you don't like Star Wars, chances are your enjoyment is going to deplete considerably. Same with this game. So if you don't know anything about Friday the 13th, or if you don't like that genre of movie, chances are you didn't really get anything out of this experience. Whereas if you did like them, or even if you were somewhat interested in them, or just like, you know what, this looks really cool, or I like the slasher genre, then I think you might actually find something worth living about the
games. Because I think the people that are playing it with no prior knowledge of anything, you're missing out on 80% of the experience of the game. Like, yeah, you get to play with your friends, you get to kill people, you get to try to survive, you get to level up and earn stuff, and that is something to do, but you miss out on being able to interact with other fans, you miss out on being able to see all these things that you've watched over and over again. You don't understand. It doesn't mean anything to you when Jason does his sleeping bag kill. You don't know what that is. You're just like, oh, that's okay. Whereas if you've seen the movies, it's more than that for you. You go into Higgins Haven, it's more than just Higgins Haven for you. It's just like, shit, I'm inside of the Higgins house. So it's different. It's a game that is definitely geared heavily towards people that have seen the movies, and I think you can enjoy it if you haven't. It's just a lot less likely to last for you.
I agree. And as we're closing out 2016, I just wanted to see if there was anything else you wanted to throw out there, because this is our last episode of the year 2016. So was there anything you wanted to hit us with before we close out this episode and say goodbye to the year?
I mean, we still got like 20 minutes.
Really? Because on mine, I'm showing we had 6, but okay.
Well, we're like an hour and 14.
Yeah.
Hour and 13, really, if we minus a minute. and we go to like, oh shit, you're right. There's not a lot of time left
there. It's just I could watch the wheels turning in your head right there.
Yeah,
as you slowly realized.
Watch me not know how to do math. I had a bunch of stuff on Star Wars, but I do not have time.
Yeah, let's save the Star Wars stuff for next year.
I do not have time, so we'll save that for 2017, which doesn't feel real right now.
It'll be real in 2 or 3 days, so
Yeah,
here we
go. I guess
what
I can close out on is New Year's.
All right.
Because as some of you may know, I moved across the country. I don't live with my family anymore. It's the first for me. I'm like adulting pretty hard. And I've realized that some people don't have New Year's traditions. Some people, and I was told that there's no such thing as a New Year's tradition, but I think there absolutely is. Because like every year with my family, we would, it was just kind of like a thing. Like you order a fuck ton of Chinese food. Like you order a lot of Chinese food, and you all either watch the ball drop on TV or you go out somewhere and look at fireworks on New Year's or something like that at midnight. Did you ever have New Year's traditions, or is this like solely an East Coast Massachusetts thing?
No, I don't think it's a regional thing, but I just think it's different from person to person. Personally, I do not have any New Year's traditions. I've been to some parties on New Year's. I've sometimes stayed home and watched the ball drop. Sometimes I've slept through it. It just depends on however I'm feeling on that day. I don't have anything that I've done year to year to year exactly the same.
Because every year, even if we did nothing else, we'd order a metric fuck ton of Chinese food. Everyone keeps telling me that, like, oh yeah, that's not normal. People don't order Chinese food on New Year's. I was like, yes, they do.
Why not? I mean,
like Chinese food places are like the only places that are open.
It is. I remember a Christmas, one of the Christmases, very distinctly having Chinese food that day because it was the only place open.
On Christmas?
Yeah.
I didn't know they were open on Christmas.
Yeah, Denny's is also open on Christmas. I remember that. One time I went to Denny's as I was going to Disney World on Christmas Day. And so we stopped at a Denny's because it was open. But the only other place that was open, I think, would have been Chinese because I had Chinese food one time on a Christmas. Don't remember what year that was, but I do remember having it. So.
Yeah, because I was like, oh yeah, because this year, I had asked my boyfriend like, oh, what are we doing for New Year's? What do you all do? And he looked at me like I had 10 heads. He's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, New Year's, what do you do? And he's like, you don't do things on New Year's. And I was like, yeah, you do. You order Chinese food. And he's like, what? He's like, okay, we can order Chinese food. And I'm like, all right, good. Chinese food it is. This is a good thing. But I thought everybody knew about, like, Chinese food on New Year's.
Everybody did this.
I just thought everybody did it. I just thought it was everybody because everybody I knew did it. So I just assumed everybody was doing it. This year, I think I'm creating a new tradition.
Well, good.
Yeah, I think every year on New Year's now, I'm going to play video games.
Oh.
Until midnight. Just
So what are you going to play?
Well, this year, I am playing Final Fantasy Online. I'm going to be there for their ball drop.
I think I was actually in a World of Warcraft during New Year's one year. So I seem to recall there was fireworks at the castle.
Yeah, I've been there for their New Year's too.
Yeah, we might have been there at the same time for all I know.
We probably were. Like probably not on the same server, but we were just there together. Might have like glanced each other's way, being like, "Isn't that great?"
Gave each other a slow nod.
Just like slow nod. Happy New Year, man. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, stranger.
Yeah, but like I'm totally gonna be on Final Fantasy Online because like honestly, like no real life New Year's could be as pretty as it's gonna be in that.
Yeah, it'll be pretty exciting, I think.
So that is what I'm doing. That is my only plan, is to be on a game at midnight. And I just feel like I was never one for New Year's parties. Like I'm not a party person, so like I don't really have a want to do it. But
well, it's funny, like a New Year's party. I mean, after midnight, it's kind of like, okay, I guess we go home now.
It's like
the
Happy
only thing
New
that's
Year.
cool. Like, I do like when they pop the champagne because I love champagne. It is like my favorite of all alcoholic beverages. which is weird because most people in my family hate champagne. Most people I meet hate champagne. Usually when I'm at a party, there's only one other person who likes champagne. Everybody else is like, ew, champagne, ew, get it away from me. But no, I love champagne. It's so bubbly and sparkly and beautiful and yummy. That's the only thing I like, though.
Yeah, I've never had champagne, so I don't have an opinion.
Oh, you need to. You need to this year. You need to open up a bottle of champagne to bring in 2017. That'll be your tradition.
Okay, so I'll be on Final Fantasy Online with a bottle of champagne saying Happy New Year, and that'll be the end of it.
That'll be the end of it.
Hey, I gotta start somewhere. Starting.
What I wanted to say before we end today, that we at the Prattlecast will see you all again next year. I just wanted to say that.
I feel old.
I know, right? We're coming so close to our 1 year of
I know it's going to be great, though. Like, do you have any resolutions for the year?
I stopped making resolutions because I can never keep them.
Well, see, I've got ones that I know that I kind of have to keep. Like, they're ones that, like, I just have to do for my life. So, like, one of my resolutions is to, like, not allow myself to gain any more weight.
Oh,
and, like,
I
eat
would
better.
make that, but I know better.
No, like, I
this
think
time
it's
next
like,
year, I'll be 100 more pounds. So.
No, like, I just have to, like, I know I have to, like, get in some amount of shape before, like, my body gives up. And it's just like, this is how you look now. This is just your future. And, like, I'm still young enough where, like, I can do this. And if I get in the habit, it'll be, like, sustainable. So, like, my one resolution is to do that. My other resolution actually pertains to this podcast.
Really?
Yes, and we talked about it before the podcast. And I think it's helpful for people to know what the plans are.
Okay.
My other resolution is to keep growing this, and because I know we've come a long way from episode 1, which if you've heard it, please don't talk about it. Don't. Just skip it. We've come such a far away from that point. We've developed so much. We've changed so much in the year that we've done it. And we've been consistent with it, which is really cool because it's hard to remain consistent with things and to follow schedules and stuff. So in 2017, I just want to get better. Like, I want to find where we settle and where we sit in this great big world of podcasts, and I think we'll be able to do that.
I would hope so.
It seems doable. I mean, I know it could take a long time, but like,
I mean, if you think about it, like if we make it another year, then we'll be closing in on episode 100 at some point.
Jesus.
So I'm hoping by then we'll figure out what we're doing. By episode 100, we'll know.
Hopefully
what's going
we do.
on.
If we don't, fuck it. We've got a whole other year to figure it out.
Yeah.
But so, as long as we're constantly improving.
I think that's a good resolution. I think I'll just have like minor ones, like I'll get married or something,
Well,
just
you have the
little
Sims.
Stuff. That's true.
You don't need to set that even though you got married and then abandoned your husband, it's fine. Never went back to the game after we got married.
I did go back. I go back on occasion. I see how things are going.
Oh, well, that's good of you. But those are my resolutions. Razzle doesn't do resolutions, so I'll just do them for us.
My resolution is to have a resolution next year. So
that's a good start.
So next year you'll have to ask me about it. Yeah. I'll be like, wait,
what?
I did what? I don't remember that.
You have to have one next year. There's no choice
All right, I'll
now.
have next year. That sounds good.
That's it. We're closing out 2016. And it's weird. This has been a fucking year. I don't like this year. I'm ready for it to be gone. So, yeah, I'm ready for it. Thank you guys for listening. You can email us at theprattlecast@gmail.com. Leave us a message at speakpipe.com/theprattlecast. Every episode is uploaded to YouTube, so you can subscribe there and share it with your friends there as well. We have the Twitter account, which is @theprattlecast, so follow that, share it with your friends. Our personal accounts are ShakeZilla and Razzle_Dazzles. And we stream together every Friday or Saturday. It rotates. This week is Friday. And this week we're playing Final Fantasy Online for the free login period that they're doing. So you can join in on that if you want. And you can follow both of us on Twitch. Twitch.tv/ShakeZilla and Razzle_Dazzle. It's the same as it is everywhere else. We have a Patreon page that you can use to donate as little as $1 or as much as too much. to get different perks for both the streams and the podcast. And it just goes towards helping us do more with this and do more with the streams and make things better for everybody. So you can look at that. That'll be in the description underneath. That is all I have for you. Happy New Year, and we will see you in 2017.